I want to get into this story, and believe me, I want to preface this by saying that I know Tony Picente's day today, and it's been, after the announcement at the end of the year with AMS pulling out, and it's a whole different philosophy, and you got to be aggressive. And I'm about to give you a story that's not necessarily good news. But with that said, I want to preface this by saying that the county executive is doing what he has to do. And and I think he told us this on the air. I know he told us this on the air a while back. I mean, we said, have you had any indication that Foxconn has any interest in possibly the Nano Center? Because they're talking about adding 30,000 jobs in the United States. That's after a conversation that that the president had with the CEO. 50,000 jobs. Could you imagine that? Could you imagine if we got, a couple thousand here? Would be enormous.
Yeah.
So, and Picente's answer to that was, I don't. I've reached out to them. I have no indication, but I can tell you this. I'm going to sniff out any possible opportunity, even if it's far-fetched. I'm going to be aggressive. I'm going to go after every possible opportunity, and I'm going to be proactive. And I think that is what we would expect out of the county executive. So I don't want this to come off as if we're saying this possibly is dead, but this story is not a good story on Foxconn. So I'm just going to read from the story that we're launching here this morning. The possible hopes of bringing the Taiwanese tech giant Foxconn to Marcy Nano facility might have already reached a setback, even before any real progress has been made by local officials. Foxconn employs over 1 million, think about this, over 1 million employees worldwide. They manufacture screens for phone companies such as Apple. Chances are in your iPhone, the screen on your iPhone, chances are, and even more than just the screen, chances are it was made by a Foxconn employee. Foxconn recently announced plans to open a new facility in the United States. Pennsylvania is maybe the leader in the battle here, but it had plans to open a new facility in the United States after conversations with President Trump. But now it looks like their plans might actually be to eliminate workers and not hire them. Foxconn's plan to add U.S. jobs prompted Oneida County Executive Anthony Picente to reach out to the company offering the shovel-ready facility at Marcy, which, of course, was recently abandoned by AMS of Austria. This week, Picente reached out to federal officials asking for help in communicating with the mega manufacturer. But now, according to the big British publication Mac Tech, Foxconn might just be underway with a plan to do just the opposite. The report claims that their general manager, the manufacturer's general manager, has outlined a plan to make all of Foxconn's factories fully automated. And this is something that we're all going to face. This is something we're all going to face. Automation is, and I know the president's talking about how we're going to bring jobs back. Automation is the real enemy.
It's inevitable.
It is inevitable. Yeah. Think about any manufacturer. They're using fewer employees, and as automation improves, it could be even, it could be what we're talking about here, the elimination of human workers. And that is their plan. So according to Mac Tech, the general manager has outlined a plan to make all of Foxconn's factories fully automated, with 30% becoming the case by 2020. So they're planning to reduce workforce by 30% in 3 years. According to Mac Format, if the plan comes to fruition, there won't be any manufacturing jobs left to move to the United States or to move to a facility like Marcy Nano. Currently, Foxconn employs over 1 million workers who in large part would be out of work if the GM's plan becomes a reality. And by the way, just to give you an idea of what they currently produce, they make over 40,000 what they call Foxbots, which are basically robotic workers in their factories. And their capability is now to produce 10,000 more per year with a goal of replacing human labor entirely. Interesting. And we have now, maybe we need to open up a plant that makes the Foxbots. Or is that going to be made by automation? I don't know. County Executive Anthony Picente, good morning.
Good morning.
I preface this by saying you can only do what you can do. You got to sniff every possible opportunity out, and you got to do it aggressively, which I believe that's what you're doing. That's what you're doing right now.
Yes, we are. I mean, the article I heard. I haven't seen the article that you just referred to, but I heard your reading of it, and it's interesting because just yesterday, there was an article in the Wall Street Journal in which Foxconn said that they were still looking at building a plant in the U.S. and that they were encouraging anybody interested, any states, and that was their quote, that any states that are interested come and see how it's done over here and in China. And so this is why economic development is so fluid and moves quickly and has all different kind of sources related to it. So, look, that's disappointing on one side in that article, but
you got the Wall Street Journal.
You never really know because companies play their cards very close to the vest, and that's always the case.
They do, and it's interesting too. You have the and you never know. You have, in this case, it's the general manager that's out there, and he's speaking to a tech crowd, trying to wow them with robotics. And then you have the CEO of the company out meeting with President Trump, saying, "Yeah, we're going to move jobs to the United States." And oh, by the way, 30 to 50,000 of them. I mean, that's not just that's a figure, Tony, that I don't think we can even fathom.
No, it isn't. Yeah. And the other thing that the article that I saw, that yesterday's article in the Wall Street Journal talked about, that they were looking at bidding to acquire Toshiba's flash memory chip unit, which now that's again speculation, but that's another piece. Now Toshiba is another large player in the industry and has presence in the United States, so you just don't know, and that's why my point with all of this from the get-go has been: look, we're going to just be aggressive. We're not going to leave any rock unturned, and we're going to see what's out there. So we'll keep pushing ahead, and as we look at and as we work with other possibilities for that site, but that doesn't mean that we can't diversify and look at everything. Right.
And believe me, that's I wanted to preface. You're doing the only thing you can do, and that is to aggressively go after any possible opportunity. I mean, you just gotta. I mean,
imagine, and the statement that they said to come out to China. Now, that's something I want to explore a little more. Now, I don't know that I'm the one to go there or whatever, but I think it's interesting that they're saying to states if they want to come and see what we're doing or how we do it out here and get a better idea. I mean, again, a welcome, an invitation sometimes like that is veiled in that let's see who comes, and if whoever comes, maybe they get. They get a little more preference, or they get, a better look-see. So, I mean, those are things we got to explore, and that's why I don't think we just dismiss things off. It goes back to the not believing that anything can be done here. And
I'm saying right now, if there's a trip to China, the Congresswoman would be perfect for that. Here is.
I was waiting for that
one. You didn't think I could leave that alone, did you?
Sure. No, I didn't.
Yeah. Here is Andrew.
So Anthony, let's say hypothetically that the factory gets built and it is going to be fully automated. Would there be any issue with bringing an automated factory to that Nano Site?
I don't, and look, I know the Nano Site has been focused on the chip manufacturer for actual, the fabs, but the intention was that it was always large enough to occupy other fabs or other factories in that regard, or suppliers, et cetera. But clearly, look, if we have, that site's ready. If something like this were to be interested in it, I don't see why we wouldn't entertain it and be able to accommodate it. I mean, I don't think something like this, you look at dip horse in the mouth if you have the site, if you have some money on the table, and if you have other interest in that site. So I think anything's possible. And look, we have other sites around the county too that can be made available as well. So it's just, and clearly they're not permitted and as far advanced as Marcy is, but nonetheless, they're, I think you have a site right now that everybody is looking at.
Yeah. When you talk about, or I'm going to talk about protecting taxpayers, is it possible if you did a deal with a company like this, because obviously they're looking for, like in New York, the state to build the building or pay for all these upgrades, et cetera. Can you say to that, if they came in with 1,000 jobs, say, can you say to them, obviously we're paying for this building for you only if you maintain 1,000? Can they come in with 1,000 and within 5 years they're down to 200 because it's automated? Is there a protection that can be built into a deal?
Well, there always is a protection. From my days at ESD and even working on projects, in the last several years, there still is the what they call the callback piece. But when companies come in and build and look for states to build, which they're doing more of today, there are clearly even more stringent, number requirements and maintenance requirements in terms of job numbers. So you can do that. Now, they can pay the penalties, I suppose, if they do pull those jobs, but that's unlikely, especially if it's it's such a large investment.
Right.
And I think the other thing we have to be cautious of is just that as we go forward on anything up at the Fab and or up at Marcy or wherever, is just making sure. And it was one of the things that I was always a stickler when I was at ESD too. I didn't want companies overestimating, and I think Howard Zemsky has said it too. We'd rather underestimate, or under promise and then deliver higher. But so I think we got to be careful on job numbers and getting too caught. I mean, look, if I can get 10 companies with 100 jobs,
right.
That's just as good. And
well, in some cases,
those are the things we have to look at.
In some cases, that's better because you're not putting your eggs all in one basket here. Huh?
It is, and it's something I'm going to talk a little bit about in my speech today when I outline some of the things we're doing.
I want to get to the speech and the fact that it's going to be on Facebook Live. You can watch it right from your phone or from your computer or iPad or whatever you have. But I want to just focus on one quick thing, and that is we're always hear every time we talk about this, we hear from people that say, "Listen, this is corporate welfare. We got to get away from this." This is the most blatant we've seen it. I mean, this company, the CEO of Foxconn, is just coming out and saying, "Okay, it's time to compete."
What do you got?
What do you got for me? And that's really what this has become throughout not just the United States, but around the world.
Well, and it has. And look, people can say that this is what it's become. For someone who's dealt with it a long time, this is what it is. Even it just there wasn't the amount of money available like there used to be because of states have really changed and got into the game even more so. And just like the governor here has allocated money from different settlements to economic development, other states are doing the same thing. So there's more money available, and states are raising the stakes as well. So it's really a combination of states competing with each other and competing for the companies, and the companies sit back and just it's like anything else. You wait for the best offer, and it's going to be out there at some point.
So the message today, this afternoon, you'll be doing your State of the County, and of course it will be available on Facebook Live. And the message today is going to be,
well, where I hope to move us, over the next year, some exciting initiatives that I think everybody will be really, I want to say blown away by, but they could be some things that we're looking to do in terms of economic development and in terms of creating some more energy and excitement throughout the county, and some restructuring of some other areas. So it's got some punch in it, I think, this year. I'm really excited about what we've been able to outline.
All right. Well, listen, it is this afternoon at what time?
4:30.
4:30 this afternoon. So you can
go. Starts at 4:30.
So they would go to your Facebook page to be able to look for it on Facebook Live.
They could, or they could just come up to Danielle's. It's open to the public.
That's at Danielle's as well.
The doors open at 4, and the programs start about 4:30.
All right.
So I thought, Tony, initially you were going to do kind of like the governor we're going to go to Clinton, we're going to go to New Hartford, go to
Yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe, yeah.
All
no,
right.
I can't do that.
Again, you can go there to Danielle's or Facebook Live, and I appreciate you coming on to comment on this story that broke this morning.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, the county executive, Anthony Picente.
See you soon.
Thanks. So we'll see you tomorrow, by the way.
Yes, that's right.
Heart Radio-thon. So.
Tomorrow. Bye.
All right. Good stuff. Okay, thanks. Couple of things. So that's interesting, the Wall Street Journal story, and we'll reference that in our story as well. So you have the CEO out talking about we want to move to the United States, and he's conversing with the President of the United States. And then you have his GM back home saying, we're going to get rid of employees. We're going to automate this thing. And it is very interesting. But if you got him for 10 years, if you got him for 5 years, would it be worth it?
Any help is help.
Yeah.
I think it would be.